Hi guys, my name's Jay and I'm going to be talking about minimalistic phone setups or methods in which you can make your phone, specifically an Android phone, more minimalistic. I may touch upon iPhones very briefly, but not too much. So what do I want to talk about? What type of phone? I currently use a Google Pixel 4a, and the reason I use that is there's a custom ROM called Graphene OS, and it's the best in my opinion for it's the best custom ROM in my opinion. Why? Because it updates on the fly. It has probably one of the best privacy slash security options that any Android ROM has. The only problem is it only works on the Pixel lineup. It does not work on any other phone, from my knowledge, apart from Google Pixel 4a and above. Anything below Google Pixel 4a will not function or work, is not being developed. I have the Pixel 4a 4G, and I believe that the updates will end at this year. Why? Because Google will stop updates to the phone. So the person who creates Graphene OS will stop those updates. So if you do want to buy a Graphene OS phone, the phone that will work on Graphene OS, I would say minimum Google Pixel 6a, or go more higher, like a 7a. However, there are alternative phones that I would choose for minimalism and slightly sacrifice privacy. So those are the Chin F21. You can go F21, F22, but the Chin lineup is very good, and I will quickly showcase those to you right now. So I believe that they do have a website. Now, don't get me wrong, this website may not be the legitimate shop. This may just be random phone. So as you see, they got the Chin Ultra, which is just released. It's a 5.03, sorry, phone. Amazing. The Chin 3, the Chin F21 Pro, and the Chin F22 Pro. As you can see, they're quite minimalistic. The Chin 3 is only 5.5 inches. The Chin 3, as I said, was 5 inches. The Chin F21 Pro. The great minimalistic phones, in my opinion. All of them. I haven't tested any of them, but I've read some reviews and watched some YouTube videos. They look fantastic. Let's get on to custom ROMs. In regards to custom ROMs, there's a handful of custom ROMs that you can use outside of Google Pixel. The ones that I know off the top of my head is Lineage OS, Copperhead OS, which I believe is paid. There's CR Droid that I've used quite a lot, and there's various others. The best place to go is the XDA developers. So just type in XDA devs, and you can get a host of information in regards to modifying your stock Android, and you can get many other information and stuff like that on phones. So you go to the forums, find your device, and you'll be able to do that. Anyway, I'm going to then break down some other things, which is VPN. So I use a Proton VPN. I use that on my phone. I use NextDNS as a DNS. What Proton VPN does is it masks your IP address. So when you're surfing the internet, going on the internet, your real IP address is not being logged. Why should you do that? Well, if I know your IP address, most likely I can find out roughly in which area you live in, from probably like a 2 or 3 mile radius, maybe even less. NextDNS is basically a DNS firewall. So DNS stands for my understanding, domain name service, and it controls the method in which your computer communicates and picks up data from a domain. So it basically finds the domain. When you type in duckduckgo.com, it helps find that domain. Without a domain name service or server, domain name server, it won't work. Nothing will come up, nothing will appear. And what NextDNS does is it allows you to filter out specific application. So for example, if you don't want to go on www.bbc.com, you want it to be blocked, you can put that in there and it'll block it. You can apply a filter so adult content won't come up or gambling websites won't come up. You can also filter certain applications. So for example, if you have Facebook and you want to block telemetry going to Facebook and you have a Facebook app on your phone, it will work. The only downside to that is the function of specific apps may not work correctly. I haven't tested this out on the top applications. I do have Instagram on my Windows 11 using Windows Android subsystem. For my acknowledgement, it works fine, and I am connected to NextDNS on my Windows computer, so it should work fine on an Android phone. In regards to applications, I have banking applications. The VoIP software I use is Zapier. I use Spotify. That's probably the most controversial application that I use on my phone. I use Signal for messaging. I'm just going to actually read them from my phone. It's just a lot more easier. So I use Wire. That's another messaging app. I use AppBlock, which is an application that blocks apps at a specific time. So if I, for example, don't want to go on Signal after 9 in the evening, it will block it. So if I click on it, it won't work. This is including a browser as well. I have AutoSync, and AutoSync basically allows me to sync certain files to my NAS. So what I do, for example, with photos is when I take a photo, if I'm connected to my local Wi-Fi, it automatically deletes the photo and uploads. So it uploads the photo to my NAS, my Synology NAS, and then deletes that image. I have Bitwarden, which is a password manager. I have calendar, I have camera, clock, contacts. I have something called DAV X5, which syncs my Nextcloud contacts with my phone contacts and vice versa. So if I put a contact in my phone, it will also sync that contact to my Nextcloud contacts. I have DS File, which is a Synology NAS application. I have Exodus, which basically monitors each app's privacy status. So it basically showcases to you how private the application is, and it showcases to you what telemetry is being sent. It's very basic from my understanding, but it shows you the trackers. So I'm in AutoSync. It shows me that it's got Google Crashlytics, Google Firebase, and then something called Open Telemetry. So it's got 3 trackers. It also shows a banking app that has 2. Let's have a look at those 2, if I can see it. It's not opening. I think even Bitwarden has 2. The calendar has 0. Camera doesn't have any. Contacts doesn't have any. I have another banking app has 2. DavX5 doesn't have any. Spotify has some. So as I'm looking through, I can see what has some. I haven't really used that application that much, but it's another application that can be used. So I kind of want to speed up now. I have Joplin, which is a note-taking app. K9 Mail for email. MyJ Downloader, I use that for downloading things. NewPipe. I have PodFirst for podcasts. I have PD Viewer, which is pre-installed with Graphene OS. I have Proton Calendar. I just tested that out, and I actually need to delete that, and I probably will delete that right now. I have Zapier, which is my VoIP client to take VoIP calls. Simple Login, which is a email alias service. So for example, let's say a company, you've walked in and they're asking for an email, but you don't want to give your real email. You click this, it generates you an email, and it will get forwarded to your real email, and you don't have to give your real email out. I have Proton VPN, which is my VPN. I have NewPipe, which is a YouTube client that blocks ads, and it's pretty much removes all telemetry from Google. And that's pretty much it. There's a few other apps that I haven't really talked about, but they don't really do much, like a calculator, a camera, a clock, contacts. But otherwise, in regards to applications, I I have Infinity, and I'm just actually about to remove that. Do have Joplin, which is, I think I did say that it's a note taking app that can also be synced, and I do have it on my desktop as well. So I have quickly just blurted those out. I will just type them out if that makes it easier for you. For some reason, my only office isn't working, functioning correctly. So let's see if I can get this to work. Oh, it is working. The cursor just not where I want it to be. So yeah, so I have Signal, I have um, K9 Mail, which is owned by Mozilla. I have K9 Mail, I have Spotify, I have Bitwarden, I have AutoSync, I have banking apps. Again, I'm not going to tell you what banking apps I have. I have DAV X5, I have Exodus. Okay, in terms of the two apps that I think that I haven't discussed are Aurora Store and F-Droid. So Aurora Store is basically the Google Play Store without logging in to the Google Store. I think it logs in on your behalf somehow using either it. I don't know exactly how it works, but it logs you in, and then you download whatever applications you want, and it doesn't use Google Play. So it's masking you actually logging in. Of course, it will still track your IP address if. Actually, I'm not totally sure if it will log your IP address or not. But in my opinion, I think Google will probably still log your IP address as it's going through Aurora Store as a client almost. It's Aurora Store is like a Play Store client. F-Droid is an application that allows you to download open source applications and also update them. So there's many applications that I'm kind of saying like DavX5, Exodus that have been downloaded directly from F-Droid and they don't exist on Aurora Store. So what you can do is you download F-Droid. I believe it's on Google Play. I'm not totally sure. And then you can from there download Aurora Store. And there's a few things that you may need to configure on Aurora Store, but you can find that information. And then the second thing I use is O Launcher. So O Launcher, which is right here, is my minimalistic launcher. So what it does is it allows you, this would be the home page. You can have a multitude of applications. I believe 6 or 7 is the maximum, maybe 5, 6 applications on the first page. And then all you have to do is click, for example, on hold down user testing. Your main application page will come, which will basically be like this. And then you scroll down to the application that you want, and it will just appear on your home page. And you can do that with everyone. To get into settings, you can just click the top, either in home, or when you scroll up and you see, all your applications, you can click the top again, hold the top, and you can see all this. The way I've set mine is everything is to the center, and the background, for my knowledge, is it's blank. It's just a black screen. It doesn't have anything on there. It's just black with white text. So I think the theme is dark. And that's it's called O Launcher. You can download it from I think the Play Store has it, so you can download it on Aurora Store. You can download it on GitHub, and there's various other places that you can download it on, and that's that. In regards to the Graphene OS, which I haven't gone through, the best way is to go on Graphene OS website and just follow the instructions. The best way, just follow the instructions, read, and just follow the instructions, and you can go from there. So what else do I want to talk about? I've talked about applications. I've briefly talked about DNS. I've briefly talked about VPN, custom ROMs, something more. So yeah, I think there's not much really to discuss. I'm going to kind of go through on a general course of minimalism, on digital minimalism. I highly recommend you read Indistractable. I highly recommend you follow and listen to a podcast by the Minimalists and watch their 2 documentaries on Netflix. I recommend their resources, their books, their podcasts. I think they have 2 books, just great stuff. And the other one is Digital Minimalism by what's his name? by Cal Newport. Another great stuff. I'm going to end this now, guys. One thing I do want to say is if you're struggling with social media, just go cold turkey. That's the best way to go about it. Just go hardcore cold turkey. Just delete it from your phone. The second thing is to not use your phone. Use your laptop, use your desktop to get things done. So your productivity day to day, do not use the phone. Install applications on your desktop. If you have WhatsApp, install it on your desktop. If you have Signal, install it on your desktop, and start to move over from your phone being like, the main crux of your life that you just need it. It's almost like a cigarette almost. I think there is a quote by the minimalist that's saying scrolling is the new smoking. I agree with that. Scrolling is the new smoking. And don't get me wrong, guys, I probably do that on a desktop. It's just I believe that it's more productive. You have a bigger screen. You're not straining your eyes. I'm not hunched back. So there is mitigations, and I can continue to talk about this topic on minimalism, digital minimalism. But I've given you a few pointers and a few places where you should go. The other place to go is YouTube. Just type in digital minimalism, and there's tons and tons of content on how to do digital minimalism. If you have an iPhone, I would suggest you to go with an iPhone mini, an iPhone SE, and there's again methodologies that you can do. Stop all notifications. I don't have any notifications on my mobile phone. The one downside about Graphene OS is out of the box, once you've installed it, push services don't work. So for example, you can't get notifications for Signal or WhatsApp. They just won't work because Google Play services is installed. However, you can go around that. I believe you can install Google Play services in a sandbox, and it's not actually seeing all your applications that are on your phone. So you have that privacy element and also the minimalism. And there's something that I will look at as I go on. And yeah, that's a wrap, guys. If you like this content, please subscribe, like, comment. The more you do that, the more content I will provide. These videos are kind of